Isn't it funny how the 80s is a very specific era, the 90s is a specific era. We're getting out of eras that really speak to a particular time. Back then, you know, there were so many cool things. Like, there was crazy stuff going on in the art world. Cars looked fantastic. Music was awesome. I mean, how many cool bands were around in the 80s?
How many Phil Collins cassettes would Testarossa owners have had to put in the concealed tape deck?
Yeah. You don't have to look
Why
at this
didn't
horrible
more people
bloody...
do that?
Particularly in the 80s when everything sort of started going crazy with buttons, heaps of buttons, you know.
Absolutely.
I mean, I got into my teens in the mid-80s, and that's why we had these cars, these posters on our walls, because that was the hottest thing. That was the top of the charts. For me, the Lamborghini Countach. For you, the Testarossa.
A big part of the reason I had that car on my wall is because of the styling. And it was, I admit, you know, the stuff that became sort of folklore, the strakes in the side that covered the vents, and it was because of legislation. You couldn't have an opening that big in the side of the car, so they had to put the strakes. And then when you looked at a Testarossa from the back, and there were those fins that covered the engine compartment and the taillights, and Ferrari called them self-cleaning fins because the airflow kept all the debris away from the taillights, whatever. Yeah. But it completely accentuated the width of the car. So from behind, it really looks wide. You know, the glass house is quite narrow, and
compared to the quarter panels.
Yeah, when you follow a Testarossa, you see that consistent line at the back of the engine bay that goes all the way to the edges of the flanks and then drops down vertically. So what you see is a wide cut. For me, as a kid, there's nothing else like it. It was weird. It's a wedge. It's a wedge like that, and it's a wedge from the top. You know,
the front
track's narrow,
the
rear track's wide, and then there's one more thing, right? There is one more thing. Those 5-spoke wheels with the center locks from the early cars were absolutely reminiscent of
Daytona,
the wheels. Daytona, but earlier than that. That design started in '63 as a racing wheel, and famously in gold.
Yeah, of course.
And the 5-spoke wheel with the recessed spokes, it's an athletic looking design. They always look really light. But that's another part of Ferrari folklore. That 5-spoke wheel design is one of the greats, one of the great wheel designs.
Honestly, my poster car was the Countach, but the Testarossa is an incredible looking car. Got to be honest, I love the look of it. For me, it was up there in terms of cars as well. It just so happened that the Lamborghini Countach was a bit wild and it just spoke to me because, you know, I'm a pretty wild guy.